And on today's episode, we are going to be doing a Devil's Prospect tier making list. Now, Jacob is going to explain the rules.
I will say a rating. Ryan and Jordan can either veto or accept it.
But if you want to know how this works, you should definitely go to Touchdown Talk, which is Jacob's brother's YouTube channel, which is about football, and he has his own tier list. And you can watch it and see how we will organize this tier list.
Actually, now it's Touchdown Talk presented by Puck Drop.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so if you want more tier listing, you can go to their channel and find their football tier list of quarterbacks. If you're interested in seeing the Devil's prospects, Jacob, take it away. How are we going to work? How are we going to be different?
Okay, well, first of all, there's going to be 5 tiers, AHL or worse, which is going to be pretty self-explanatory. Either they're going to be an AHLer or worse. Bad, which means they'll be in the NHL, but they're not going to be very good. They're going to be bad, but like a Kevin Rooney, John Hayden type, where they're
Bottom line pairing, or not, or scratch.
And then average, which means they'll be average NHL players. Player like Miles Wood is a good example. A good NHL player. So like a Kyle Palmieri or no, Heischer is great or better. A player like a Travis Zajac in his prime would be a good.
Yep.
And then great or better would be like Nico.
Palmieri, McDavid.
Palmieri, Nico Heischer. All right.
Yeah.
So, we are going to start out with the first player on this list, which is Jarome Clark of the and he currently plays on the Ottawa 67s in the Ontario Hockey League. He was the Devils' third-round pick in the 2019 NHL draft. He was actually injured for most of the season, but during the short amount of time he played, he was fantastic, scoring, I believe, 19 points in 15 games, or maybe even better. I'm not
Don't
sure.
take his word on that. He took it out of the head. Don't take his word. But that's just a range, kind of.
It's a range, yeah. He scored over a point per game, and you know he scored in the teens, and he played at games in the teens. So I'm going to put him in, I think just because the CHL scoring can be a little skewed, I think he's going to be average. So I'm going to put him in average.
I say in between average and good, so just for the sake of it, I'll agree with you.
So, Jordan.
Since you guys agree, I guess it's going to be average. For the sake of agreement, I would say average 2, just because we don't know how good he'll be because he only played like 16 games. So we'll see.
Also, I don't really know much about him. I've never heard of him.
He was good when he was playing, but like he didn't play that much. So we'll just put him in average.
Yeah, I'm here.
Next player I have here, captain of the Kelowna Rockets. And fun fact, another player on this list, where is he? Nick Merkley and Damon Severson played on the Kelowna Rockets. This is Nolan Foote, who the Devils acquired along with a first-round pick in this year's draft for Blake Coleman, which was, even though I love Coleman, you have to admit that return was amazing.
It was a great trade.
It was a good return. It was a good return. I just missed Coleman was good.
And considering how the NHL turned out, the cancellation of the season, this is very helpful.
Yeah, but Nolan Foote, his best asset is his big frame and his shot. If you want a player comparison, I know you guys don't like these, but what I'm trying to say is his style of play. If you want a similar player who plays a similar style to Nolan Foote, I'm gonna say David Pastrnak probably. Okay, so Nolan Foote's best asset is his shot and his size, like I said before. Skating isn't great, but he is going if you play him with Jack Hughes in his rookie season, I know I said the similar thing with Alex Holtz, but he is a good goal scorer. If you play him with a good playmaker, he's going to do well in his career.
All right, where do you think he should go, Jacob?
I say good.
I've seen some highlights of him when I was watching a video before this. In my opinion, I'm just going to agree with you because I kind of want it to be average, but it's kind of like, again, just like the last player, it's in between, but I guess just for the sake of agreeance and because you know more than me, I'm going to trust you. We'll put him at good.
But I
Yeah,
will say,
I'd also put, total coincidence, but I'm going to put him at good 2. We're in total agreement. This is historical moment in the history of puck drops.
Yeah, for those of you who watch our channel, you know that all we do is argue, and that's the fun of it. So today, hopefully, we can pick it up.
but I will say he did, just like Jerome Clark, he was injured a ton this year. He did miss a lot of time with injuries, and he didn't get to play much. But in the games he played, he was fantastic.
Yep.
Next player we have here is the only goaltender on this list. That is Jill Sen. And now Sen has played one NHL game. That was this season. And this season he broke out really as a starter, and he had a pretty good year in the AHL. But he played one game in the NHL. In that game, he was not that bad. But I don't think he's going to be he's not going to be a starter. At best, I think he's a decent backup. So I am going to put him in bad right now.
No, I'm put him in average.
think-
I'm actually going to put him in bad, too.
What? No, let me just say something.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm teetering between average and bad.
Hold the roof. Listen, I think he should be average. I do think he's definitely not anywhere near good, great, or better, anything like that. But he's definitely not an AHL or worse. I think you should put him in average because, first of all, he only played one game. He clearly the spot's open for him. Let me just say it like that. There's a spot open for him. Blackwood's in the NHL. Who's going to back up Blackwood? There's a spot for him. He's not going to be that bad of a goalie. I don't see anything wrong with him. I don't see why he'd be bad. I think he's just going to be an average backup goalie. So I think he should be an average player.
I think he's bad because we don't grade goalies on whether they're backups or starters. We grade them as goalies altogether. And he'd be a bad NHL starter. We're not rating him based on his NHL play, but we're basing it on his AHL and minor league play.
No, you guys are misunderstanding. The way I've been thinking about this is I'm kind of like predicting and trying to see where they're going to end up. I can see him being a pretty good backup Devils NHL goaltender, so I would like to put him in average.
You know what?
Because the thing is, if you look at his numbers, even though he did break out as a pretty good AHL starter this year, his numbers still weren't that great.
Yeah,
which is the only reason why I'm teetering between average and good for him.
I say average. I think he's going to be a pretty good backup.
The only reason
I didn't say bad, but a high end bad.
No, he's got to be average. I think he's average. I
say bad, and Jordan agrees with bad. So
yeah, I agree.
Mr. President, let me just tell you something. Just listen. I really think you're giving him the short end of the stick right now.
All right, let's move on.
No, listen. He's you guys. The minute you hear goaltender, you're thinking, "Oh, Blackwood, give me a break. He's a dunk."
What?
That's what you're thinking. I know that's what you're thinking.
There are plenty of bad goaltenders out there. We're rating him as potentially bad because he won't be.
He's also 24. I barely included him. When I was including him, I was like,
no. I thought you
he's
said
24. Is he even a prospect anymore?
No, I thought you said that goalies, excluding the fluke Corey Schneider, actually last long. Like they go till they're 40. Like Brodeur lasted very long.
They do usually last longer, and they do usually come in later. But I will say, if he was going to be an average NHL backup goalie, a decent NHL backup goalie, I think he would be in the NHL already. I think he would have been the Blackwood's backup goalie last year. But he's not, which is why I'm putting him in bad.
I don't think he has much room to grow, really.
Think about it like this. The Devils took basically...
All right, Ryan, let's move on. We're wasting too much time on this.
We're wasting too much.
Jordan, be respectful just for 1 second of your life, okay? He's given the short end of the stick, okay? Because think about it like this. What's his name came in? The guy from the Lightning. Louis Domingue came in. They tried so many people who just couldn't take that backup spot. So I really think that you're kind of giving him the short end of the stick, and he should be average. He was okay in the AHL. I just don't see any room for growth because he's already 24. Let's move on.
No, he still can grow. It's just I think he's bad, teetering on average. Like he's a high-end bad. And I think that's where we should leave him. Next player, I am very high on this player. And this next player is Arseny Grutsyuk. He's Russian. Okay, do you like how I pronounce his name?
Arseny Grutsyuk. I love it. Arseny Grutsyuk.
All right, so he put up, I believe, 61 or 62 points in 58 or 59 MHL games, which is like the minor league for the KHL. And just for comparison, Artemi Panarin put up exactly the same, maybe slightly better points per game in his 20-year-old MHL season. This year, Arseny Griciuk was 18 turning 19. Just for comparison. So I am very high on Griciuk. So I think he should go in good.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm gonna have to say great. I mean,
Good.
I may be getting ahead of myself here, but he's 18 turning 19, which means he has a lot of room for growth. He put up great numbers in the MHL and still has a lot of room for growth. I'm going to have to say great because he has lots of potential and already has some great skills.
Well, Ryan, what do you say?
I'm going to have to agree with Jacob on this. I just think he's going to be good. That's all I have to say.
Because a good player is still,
Yeah,
it's-
but like he's a good player right now. If he were in the league right now, he'd be a good player, but he has a lot of room for growth because he's only 19.
But here's the thing. The reason I'm putting him in, part of the reason I'm bumping him down a little bit is because he might not come over to North America for a while. You have to realize Russian prospects decide when they want to come over.
That's a good point, but it doesn't matter because you and Ryan both agree. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so next player we have here is Jesper Boquist. He did play 40 games this year, so technically next year when he plays, he's not going to count as a rookie. But I counted him anyway just because 40 games is not that much. So
well, if you count a shortened season, he played over 3 quarters. But whatever.
So I really like Jesper Boquist, and I think he's going to be good.
I agree. Good. Put him at that.
Yep, I agree too.
I think he's going to be a solid NHL middle six top 6 scoring winger.
Yeah.
So I do have another picture here of Jesper Boquist that I purposely put it so that I didn't really show his back, and it only really shows the 0, because this is going to be the Devils' 7th overall pick from this year's draft. It's going to represent the Devils' 7th overall pick from this year's draft.
Okay.
I'm going to put that pick in great or better. we can't really talk that much, but just based on the draft class, based on who the Devils will have the chance to pick, I'm going to put great or better.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what you just did there, but whatever floats your boat.
I mean,
Okay.
whatever. I would put them at good because I've got someone that they want to draft. I want them to draft someone who will probably be good,
If they
whatever.
pick Sanderson, then yes, it will be good. But if they pick anyone else that is actually supposed to go around their spot, they will be great or better.
I want them to pick Sam. I don't know about we talked about this in another video. Go watch our draft lottery video for more of our debate on that.
Agreed. Yep.
Okay, so this next player we have here is Kevin Ball.
Yep.
And Kevin Ball,
Yep.
we acquired him in the Taylor Hall trade. He was for that first round pick, he was the key piece in that Taylor Hall trade.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a big, burly defenseman that's hard hitting and can play defense in his own way and very well, but it's also for his size is a very good skater.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be great, but I'm going to put him in good.
I'm gonna have to agree with that because he's a defensive defenseman, but he packs an offensive punch. That's the kind of defenseman you want.
I love the way you worded that, Jordan. That sounded so professional and into it.
I'm so professional.
I agree.
The next player we have here is another player who we acquired via trade this year. This player is Yanni Kuokkanen. Kuokkanen actually played 1 game this year that me and Ryan were at.
Yeah.
And he is 22 already. He was the Hurricanes' 2nd round pick in 2016. But he's looking to be at least a good player in the NHL. He put up, and when he came over to play with the Binghamton Devils, he put up 6 points in 4 games, and that's why he got called up and played in the NHL for a game, and he looked pretty. Even though he was playing with Kevin Rooney and I think John Hayden, who he does not deserve to play with. Those are not players who fit his playing style.
Yep.
He still played well, so I'm going to put him in good, just on base what I've seen from him.
So I'm really actually I want to hear what Jordan has to say first.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Jacob because I don't really know much about this guy. Just from his baseline stats, though, he looks pretty good. So I'll agree with Jacob.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna try out of the blue to maybe turn Jordan, but I think we're just gonna end up putting him at good. But just hear me out, Jordan. I think maybe you should consider moving him to average because he's 22. He came from a trade, and I didn't really see that much out of a 22-year-old. So I don't know. He's not a goalie. He doesn't have that long.
I don't know. Right now, like he's 22, so there isn't that much room to grow left. But at the rate he's playing right now, he'll be good. I think I'm gonna have to stick with my gut on this one.
All right, I'll agree with you guys.
So the next player we have here, I'm just going to check my list. It is Mikhail Maltsev, and you guys probably won't remember this, but Mikhail Maltsev scored this insane goal during the preseason. He picked off against the Rangers. He picked off a pass pushed by both the defensemen, who he picked the pass off from. Deep past the goalie, and then from his knees, put it in one-handed on the back.
I do not remember that.
I'll send the link to
Put it
that
in the
video to you.
Comment it below. Put it below.
I might put it in the description, but I'll send the link to the video for you guys after this.
Honestly, I don't remember that. A, B, it's preseason, so everyone's mindset's different. I really don't think you can base it off of that.
Well, he also scored.
It's up to you.
I watched he played in the AHL this year. So I watched the Binghamton Devils a lot this year, and he was on the Binghamton Devils. So he has great hands in tight and a really good shot, which are his best assets. He's also a pretty good skater, and is not awful in his own end. But overall, I don't think I put him on the same level as all these guys. I'm going to put him in average.
Well, again, I don't really know much about this guy besides the preseason goal you just mentioned. But, I mean, again, I'm going to have to just go with the baseline stats on this one. He doesn't look that great. I'm going to have to – I don't know. I'm going with my gut on this one. I'm just going to say bad.
Okay. I would agree with Jacob, the statistician, but I do have to say preseason is preseason, and you can't base a player off one play. Hold on. Think about Odell Beckham Jr. I know it's football, but all sports kind of have similarities in different senses. Beckham had 1 or 2, maybe 3 great plays, and now he's a disgrace to the sport. I'm going to agree with Jordan. Let's put him in bad.
Yeah. He doesn't look that good. Yeah.
I'll put him in bad, but I'm just telling you, Ryan, I'm not basing him off of what I saw in preseason. I watched him play a lot in the AHL this year.
I agree with you, Jacob. I agree that you're not basing it off of that. It's just that I think you might – when you think of a player, you probably a lot of times think of their best play. So I think you just might be shifting gearing towards that just a little bit.
Okay, we'll put him in bad because you guys both said. Okay. Next player we have is Michael McLeod, who we were both arguing before this what year he was drafted in. And I was right, obviously. He was drafted in 2016, the Devils' first-round pick, 12th overall. And, you guys might disagree with me here, but you might disagree with me here. I feel like I need to, for a first-round pick, 12th overall, I need to see more progress from him. He's been a pretty good player in the AHL, but when he's come up to the NHL, he's played, I think, almost 40 games. He hasn't scored a single goal yet. And I just don't think I've seen enough improvement from him for a first-round pick, 12th overall, in the past 4 years. I haven't not seen enough improvement in him to put him in good or maybe even average. I think I'm going to put him in bad.
What? I think.
I mean, I've kind of have to agree with Jacob here. You got to see. I mean, two things that are most important to me in a hockey player is ability to grow and consistency. And he just hasn't had the ability, and he hasn't really grown. Again, he's been a good AHL player, and this might be a controversial pick, but I think I'm going to have to put him in AHL or worse because he's played 40 NHL games, and it showed zero progress. Almost zero progress.
He scored 5 points in almost 40 games. And they're all
that's
six.
not good though.
That's horrible.
That's not an NHL caliber level, and that's over 4 years. That doesn't show a lot of growth. At the rate he's growing, I don't think he'll ever be a meaningful player in the NHL. So I'm going to say AHL or worse.
Listen, this is what I think. I think this. The reason why I said what was because I don't think he's just a bad player, Jacob. He just clearly doesn't fit in the NHL.
Yeah, but he hasn't been growing. He's not a bad player right now. He just hasn't been growing.
I will say he is only 22. He's still young.
Hold the roof. Let me talk. 4 years in the system. 5 points in the NHL. You're not getting anywhere. AHL or worse.
All right. We're putting Michael McLeod in AHL or worse. Next player we have here is Devils' 5th or 6th round pick from 2019, Patrick Moynihan. And
good pronunciation, Moynihan.
This is one of the Devils prospects I don't know much about. I even hesitated to put him on this list. And from what I've seen, he had a decent year in the NCAA this year, putting up, I believe, 13 goals and 21 points. Because I did look at his stats: 13 goals, 21 points in about 43 games.
What team did he play for in the NCAA? What college did he go to?
Providence College.
Providence
ain't a bad hockey team, so I'll give it to him.
He was decent, but I did watch some of his highlights, and I think I'm going to put him in bad. I think he might make the NHL, but I think I'm going to put him in bad.
Again, going with baseline stats here because I don't know much about this guy.
All right.
Just from that, I'm going to put him in average because he doesn't seem like he's young and he has room to grow. So I see him as I see him as a bottom 6 kind of guy. He'll be average.
Yeah. I would just like to say one thing. I'm sorry, but I don't really have many stats with me. I got to be honest with you. Prospects is not my thing. I'm not into prospects. I know the good ones, but I'm not huge with it. But Providence College, good hockey team, young player, average at the bare minimum.
All right, I'll put him in average. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players left in 10 minutes. So we're doing a lightning round. Next player, Nathan Bastian. He's only played he's played limited NHL games. I think he's only played 7 NHL games. He scored 3 goals in those games. He didn't get any time this year. I don't know why. I really like Nathan Bastian. I'm going to put him in average.
I agree. Average, close to good, but just a little under average.
I would say good, but for the sake of time, let's move on because you guys both agree.
Yep.
Okay, Nick Merkley. For me, he's either average, high-tier average, or low-tier good. I'm going to put him, just because he's 23 already, I'm going to put him in average. Next player here is Nikita Ahoytak. Devil's 2nd round pick from...
Wait, Jacob, you have the pronunciation.
Nikita Ahoytak. He was the Devil's 2nd round pick in 2019. 2019. And, if you look at his stats, he's a defensive defenseman at first. He's a defensive defenseman. For me, it's similar to Merkley. He's either going to be average or good, just based on what I've seen from him.
I don't know about that.
Where are you going to put him, Jacob? Lightning round. Let's go.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to have to agree with that because we need defensive defensemen, and that has got me really keen on defensive defensemen.
I don't agree with you for the sake of time.
So, next player is Nikola Pasic. This is one of the ones, guys, I'm not too familiar with, but he had a very good year in the Allsvenskan this year, which is a very underrated league. Him in average.
Well, actually, I was thinking maybe debatably good because he plays well in an underrated league. But Junior. You're right. Yeah, you're right because he did perform bad in Junior. So
Yeah,
average,
so
Jordan.
I'm going to have to agree just for the sake of time. Let's move on.
all right.
Next player is
Jordan,
a very
feel free, Jordan. Feel free to disagree with us.
I mean, like, it doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Okay.
next player is a very interesting one. Arain Talvet. Arain Talviet or Talvet. I'm not 100% sure. He's Finnish. He's played in Penn State the past couple seasons, and he's been pretty darn good for Penn State. He also had a very good World Junior showings in the past 2 seasons, including captaining, or 2 seasons ago, including captaining the Finland.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna put him in. I'm gonna either average or good, and I'm gonna put him in good.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this guy. I'm just going to sum it up like this again for the sake of time, because Zoom's being a bot. But I'm thinking about it like this: he's a good player, successful college hockey player. College hockey, maybe a little under the AHL level, but I think he's a very good player. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Division I college hockey, very good player, young, future ahead of him, good, actually close to great or better, but good.
Okay, I would say I'm going to have to say average, but you guys agree, so we're going to keep him in the category he is. I just want to see more I just want to see more improvement from him before I judge him, though,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next player we have here is Ty Smith, and right away, I'm just going to go ahead, put him in great or better. Ty Smith was our first-round pick in 2018, and he was looking like an absolute steal. He only slipped to our pick at number 17. I don't know, pick number 17. He only slid to us to 17 because of his height, which I don't know why GMs are still taking that into account. But he's a smaller guy, but he won CHL He won he won WHL Defenseman of the Year and was a CHL Defenseman of the Year nominee this year and won CHL Defenseman of the Year. He was the best defenseman in all of juniors, North American juniors.
Yes.
2018-19 season. The Devils have done the smart thing. They've let him progress and grow his defensive game. In his offensive game over the past 2 seasons. I'm really excited for Ty Smith. I think he's probably going to make the NHL this upcoming season, 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So
right,
I'm putting him in great.
Wait, I must say one thing, though, first. I think that the reason why, first of all, GMs think height is very important and it's a necessity is because look at Hughes. We ignored the fact that he was 5'9" and he doesn't fit. Okay? Just number one. I feel like Hughes still has potential, but that's just an example of why GMs care about height because, well, we ignored that with Hughes and, well, he just doesn't fit yet. And I do think that you might be overrating Ty Smith just a little bit, but I think we're doing it right, and I think he could be great or better, maybe a little bit closer to good, but I'll put him at great or better. Next.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I'd say great or better because he's developing his offensive and defensive game. He's almost fully developed, and he'll soon be in the NHL. I'm going to have, great or better.
All right, so we have about 3 minutes left, and we have 3 players left. This next player, Tice Thompson. He was actually second in the entire NCAA in scoring. So either second or third, only behind his teammate, Jack Duggan.
Just for reference, how old is he?
He wasn't overager. I think he's 20 or 21.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, real quick, let's go.
I'm going to put him in good. So we have Riley Walsh. Riley Walsh, I'm going to put him in good, mostly because I probably would put him in average the last year, but this year, when Adam Fox left and played for the Rangers this year, Riley Walsh proved he could be a number 1 defenseman. He could be a good top 4 defenseman at worst.
Okay, let's move along.
So I'm putting Riley Walsh in good. The last player we have here is Fabian Zetterlund. And
Well, you
And
didn't let me rate Riley Walsh. I'd
Oh,
say
yeah.
average just because he seems good, but he plays for Harvard, and Harvard is Harvard, so let's
Well,
move
no,
on.
but Harvard's a really good hockey school.
Harvard is a
And-
doc school, guys. Harvard has more sports than any other team in the country. Yes, the academics is great, but Harvard is a very, very good sports school as well. It's in the Ivy League. It's successful in the Ivy League.
all right. Stop going on a rant. Let's move on. We don't have
All
time.
right, last player we have here. We need to go very quickly. Fabian Zetterlund, I'm going to put him in. I just don't think I've seen his shot is fantastic. Skating is pretty good. I don't think I've seen enough progression in him to put him in good. I'm going to put him in average.
Okay.
I don't know anything about this guy, so
All
I'm
right,
going to agree.
Hold the roof. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. We're running out of time, so I'm going really, really quickly. Feel free to follow us on Instagram. Puck_drop.LHS. That's right. Puck_drop.LHS. That's right. Our Instagram is, not our Instagram. Our Facebook is, oh my God.
Twitter is
Twitter.
Puck Drop LHS.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and bye-bye.